Whenever a new season of Big Brother is about to begin, discourse surrounding a certain competition seems inevitable. I am, of course, referring to the first head of household. When I first came into the scene around the time of Big Brother 16, the general consensus seemed to be that winning the first HOH was not a good game move. You're putting yourself out in the spotlight way too early on, and you're getting blood on your hands before you even know everybody. But after a few years, and after a few successful first HOHs, I saw the conversation start to shift. And at around the time of Big Brother 22, everything had flipped. Winning the first HOH was now seen as not just a good thing, but the best thing you could do. You're putting yourself in a position to form a power alliance centralized around you that will help launch you to the end of the game. Okay, sure, I can get behind that. But just when I thought I had it all figured out, we have seen 4 first HOHs in a row crash and burn and single-handedly re-raise that age-old question. Is it a good thing to win the first HOH? Well, today, we're going to look at the highs and the lows and see if we can find an answer. So consider subscribing to the channel as we kick off Big Brother 27 and the 2 videos a week that come with it. And without further ado, this is the blessing and the curse of winning the first HOH in Big Brother.
I don't know what it feels like to win a national championship or a Super Bowl, but it can't feel much better than this.
To start things off, I think it's important to establish what exactly is the first HOH. Now, this might seem like a very stupid question, but it's not, because there are some seasons where the first HOH is not the first player in power. In Big Brother 9, Alex and Amanda were technically the first HOHs, but before that, Jen and Parker were the power couple, and they had the power to evict any pair of their choosing. That pretty much makes them the first HOH to me. Then in Big Brother 21, Christy won the first HOH. But before that, Jackson had been voted the camp director, and he was given the power to banish, aka nominate, 4 players and force them to compete in a competition where the loser would be evicted. And what about Big Brother 16 and 17? When Frankie and Jason respectively had won the HOH and had to make nominations, but were eventually dethroned. Basically, all I'm trying to say here is that there are certain titles that some players received that aren't officially listed as a first HOH, but because it involved holding power in the first week and making decisions that typically only the first HOH would make, I'm including them in this list, as this is more so a discussion of whether or not having significant power in week 1 is a good thing or a bad thing.
I have to tell 4 people that they're getting banished. I'm pissed.
Okay, now that we've established that, let's look back at the beginning. As I stated, the overall opinion of winning the first HOH in the early days of Big Brother was not really a good one. And I can understand why. From Big Brother 2 through Big Brother 11, most first HOHs did not make it very far into the game. In fact, only a few even made it to the halfway point. Of the 14 people who were the first HOHs, or the power couple, 10 of them did not survive more than 4 weeks. Nathan in Big Brother 4, Jace in Big Brother 5, Kale in Big Brother 8, and Jesse in Big Brother 11 were all taken out 4 weeks after winning the first HOH. Mike Boogie in Big Brother 2 was taken out just 3 weeks after winning the first HOH. Jace in Big Brother 7 was taken out just 2 weeks after winning the first HOH. And the pairs of Alex and Amanda, as well as Jen and Parker, were both taken out immediately after their week 1 powers in Big Brother 9. These are all examples of pretty early exits. However, it does raise a question. Was their reign as the first head of household a key factor in their eventual downfall? Well, as you may have guessed, the answer is sometimes. Mike Boogie, Jace in Big Brother 5, Kale, and Janelle were all pivotal in creating 3 to 4 person alliances while being the first HOH in an attempt to run the house. But their alliances didn't stay secret for very long, if at all, and that led to their quick downfalls. However, in Janelle's case, she just won an absurd number of competitions throughout the season to keep herself safe and make it to 3rd place. You can also kind of include Alex and Amanda in this grouping, as they were seen as pretty big threats and had a strong alliance with Matt and Natalie. But at the same time, Amanda had conflicts with plenty of the other players, which did contribute to their demise. And then there was Jace in Big Brother 7, which is a pretty interesting example. Jace put himself in a really good spot during his Week 1 HOH reign, positioning himself perfectly in the middle and being good with both the Season 6 alliance and the Outsiders. However, people eventually figured this out, and James nominated and evicted him in Week 3 because of how dangerous he seemed to be.
James, you of all people I didn't think would take the bitch route.
There was the going back and forth between the 4 and the chill town. That right there left a lasting impression.
Fine.
So you could argue that a sizable reason for the eventual downfall of these players came because of what they did while in Power Week 1. But that's not necessarily the case for the others. Jen and Parker weren't really taken out because of their role as the power couple, but rather because Jen and Ryan came into the game secretly in a relationship. But then Jen told everyone out of paranoia, to which her and Parker were nominated, and then Jen's personality rubbed everyone the wrong way, and they were voted out for it. Justice for Parker. Nathan in Big Brother 4 actually did a really good job as the first HOH, where he stuck strong with his initial alliance, the Elite 8. However, after a few weeks when cracks began to show in the alliance, Nathan ended up picking the wrong side, and he was taken out shortly after. Likewise, Jesse did fantastic in Week 1 of Big Brother 11, paving the way for a dominant steamroll, but his season was cut short after the most overpowered twist of all time sniped him out in Week 5. Amidst these early exits exists a couple of positive outliers though. Rachel in Big Brother 6 made herself a pretty big target after winning both the HOH and veto in Week 1. But she did a really effective job of just fading into the background after her reign and joining in on the Sovereign 6 alliance in Week 3. Ultimately, though, they lost the alliance war, and she was taken out in 8th place. Jerry in Big Brother 10 was put in a really interesting spot during his Week 1 HOH, because he was genuinely strong-armed by nearly the entire house into nominating Brian, someone that he really trusted. But because he did as the house pleased, he too was able to fade into the background. And while he never really found a place in a true majority alliance, he was able to make it all the way to 3rd place. And then, lastly, there was Lisa in Big Brother 3, the only first HOH in this time frame to actually go on to win the game. Lisa found herself to be in a majority alliance while in power, and although she didn't actually get her original desired result this week after her target Marcellus was vetoed off the block, she did still have the numbers moving forward. However, a couple weeks later, that very alliance tried to vote her out, but Lisa was able to pivot and defect from that alliance in favor of working with Danielle, which helped boost her to the end of the game, where she won. Overall, though, when we look at this first crop of seasons, I don't know if I can confidently say that anyone had a true successful first HOH that helped lead them deep into the game. As I showcased, the majority of them went home within a matter of weeks after they were in power. And even among those that didn't, like Lisa and Jerry, they didn't actually get what they wanted in Week 1. And I feel like it was more so that they made it deep into the game despite their HOH reigns.
When Jerry decided to use his power of veto, I once again had to be the bad person.
I'm not too happy about this.
Jerry is on the chopping block next.
So, after looking through all the examples, I can totally get on board with the popular consensus at the time that winning the first HOH was not something you wanted to do. However, after Big Brother 11, there was a shift. From Big Brother 12 to Big Brother 22, the track records of first HOHs almost flipped entirely. Of the 14 first HOHs in this time period, I'm including Jackson as the camp director, as well as the 2 dethroned HOHs. 10 of them made it to the final 6, and 5 of those went on to win the whole thing. Hayden in BB12, Rachel in BB13, Nicole in BB18, Jackson in BB21, and Cody in BB22 each won their seasons. Tyler in season 20 got second place, McCrae in Big Brother 15 and Caleb in Big Brother 16 each placed 4th. Frankie, also in Big Brother 16, got 5th, and Christy in season 21 got 6th. Now, guess what all 10 of these players had in common? They all used their first HOH to put themselves in a dominant majority alliance, and they used that to propel themselves deep into the game. Hayden had the Brigade, Rachel had the Vets Alliance, McCrae had the Moving Company, as well as Amanda once that alliance crumbled, Caleb and Frankie both had the Bomb Squad, and then the Detonators once that alliance blew up, even though Caleb wasn't technically a part of that. Nicole had the 8-pack and like 3 other things. Tyler had level 6, Jackson and Christy both had Grateful and the 6 shooters, and Cody had the Committee. While not all of these initial power structures stayed together for the entire season, they stayed together long enough for these players to dig their roots into the house and build up social capital. So if these alliances did happen to fall through, then these players were able to pivot effectively and push themselves towards the end of the game anyways. And I think it was in large part due to the position they put themselves in after winning the Week 1 HOH. Even James and Jason had their Goblins alliance that they started forming while in power during Big Brother 17. They just got unlucky that the cards didn't end up falling their way, and they were the losing alliance of the season. So the only real outliers during this 11-season stretch would be Willie Hance and Cody Nixon in Big Brother 14 and 19 respectively. These two both tried making pretty big moves and targeted huge threats in Week 1, but they were ostracized from the rest of the house due to how they went about making the move. And then they were ostracized even more once the move ended up failing. Both of them were taken out immediately following their HOH reign. Well, in Willie's case, he got himself expelled before the house could vote him out. But when we look at the big picture, it was clear that winning the first HOH had become such a beneficial thing for your game compared to how it used to be. So what changed? What is it that happened after Big Brother 11 that flipped the narrative so severely? Well, I think the answer is literally the Brigade. You see, the Brigade changed the landscape of how the game was played. For the first time ever, viewers saw just how successful a secret alliance could truly be when they stuck together and actually kept it a secret.
Final 3.
Final 3 to Brigade. Best alliance ever, man.
So, for the most part, a lot of the alliances we saw built around the Week 1 HOHs during this time frame were trying to replicate the Brigade's success, meaning that they at least tried to keep it a secret. Chilltown was never a secret in Big Brother 2, and they were decimated because of it. The Season 6 alliance in Big Brother 7 was painfully obvious, and they were always the target when a Season 6 member didn't win power. But after the Brigade succeeded in Big Brother 12, we saw other first-week secret alliances, like the Detonators and Level 6, plow through their seasons relatively unscathed and find immense success. So that kind of settles things. After nearly a decade of victory, it is clear that the first HOH is now a good thing to win. Right? Right? Well, just when I thought I had it all figured out, we get to the modern era. We have seen 4 new first HOHs be crowned over the past 4 years, and all 4 of them crashed and burned. Frenchie and Riley both were evicted immediately after their HOH reigns in season 23 and 25 respectively. Daniel was voted out in 12th place after never being in a good position in Big Brother 24, and Angela was put through the ringer week after week after week until she was finally evicted on her 9th life in Big Brother 26, although she's my favorite. So this re-raises the question, what changed? What happened after Big Brother 22 that made the first HOH poisonous once more? Well, the answer is nothing. At least, that's what I think. It's just that some of these players' executions went terribly wrong. It all started with Frenchie in Big Brother 23, who genuinely started off really well. He was making good bonds, good plans, and had created a secret mega alliance called the Slaughterhouse. But everything fell apart once Frenchie made way too many promises that he couldn't keep, which led to him needing to break a lot of those promises. And at this point, he kind of just self-imploded and blew his whole game up, which got him evicted once he was out of power. That wasn't a first HOH problem, though. That was a Frenchie problem. The very next year, we got Daniel, who, in response to seeing how Frenchie's overplaying got him evicted, played his first HOH extremely slow and cautious. This, however, meant that Daniel didn't actually put himself within any real structure, and it left him as someone expendable and on the outs, to which he could never recover from, and he was taken out a few weeks later. This, again, wasn't a first HOH problem. This was a Daniel problem. The next year, we had Riley, who seemed to be playing it pretty well at the start, and she created a few secret alliances, as she was supposed to. However, these alliances didn't stay secret for very long, and Riley got really unlucky when Hisam, someone who wasn't in her alliances, took this personally, and when he won both the HOH and veto in week 2, he made it his mission to get Riley evicted. This actually is one of the risks of winning the first HOH, but in general, Riley got really unlucky here. And then, lastly, we have my beloved Angela. Angela could have done really well as the first HOH, as she was presented with a perfect secret alliance of 8 that would have positioned her so nicely had she gone with that group. But Angela didn't think that it was real, and she then not only publicly shut that down, but she also picked fights with some of the other players, which led to Angela being a perpetual target for like the next 2 months. So, you see, I don't think that the first HOH itself is the problem. The problem is what these players were or weren't doing with their power. There is a delicate balance you need to maintain if you're the first HOH. If you do too much like Frenchie, you're never going to survive for long. But if you do too little like Daniel, then you're not playing for the long game, and you'll get picked off soon enough too. Finding that sweet spot in the middle is the key to finding long-lasting success in the game. So, despite what it might look like, I do think that winning the first HOH is something that players should still be gunning for in the modern era. But in terms of entertainment, it is so much more fun when the first HOH can't find that balance. So, if you're an incoming player and are watching this to learn, then forget everything I just said, and instead do this. Win that first HOH. Start a huge public fight with 1 or 2 people, if not more. Then expose any secret alliances that people have tried to make with you and start making everyone a target. Because at the end of the day, what can they do to you? You're the HOH and you're safe. So why not kick the season off with a bang?
Because you know what, you can't be pretty on the outside when you're ugly on the in. Let's just have a good time the rest of the time that all of us are here. But don't talk to me.
And there we go. Tonight, or one of these nights, Big Brother 27 will crown a new first HOH. Will they break the mold and finally find success again? Or will they continue the train of destruction that has preceded them across the past 4 years? Only time will tell, but I am very excited to watch it play out. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. If you're new here, consider subscribing, as I'll be releasing 2 videos every week for the entirety of Big Brother 27. I, of course, need to give that extra special shout out to all of my YouTube members and patrons who would, without a doubt, have a flawless Week 1 HOH if they ever played the game. And, as always, here's a clip for you on your way out.
I can feel my muscles just starting to give, and Caleb is hanging off the thing, like doing disco moves.
Jackie, honey, you can drop anytime. I ain't putting you up, girl.
You promise?
Oh, promise, for sure. Honey, you had me at them shoes.
Get off, Jackie! This is mine!